have a good morning? I'll tell you, it has some exciting, impressive speakers. And I want to thank all of you. This is what it's really about. I'm going to give you a little bit of background. And as you know, John and I are very good friends, and we became governors in 2004 together. Let me give you my background, my intro to politics. My family was always involved, from West Virginia, a little coal mining town, from Farmington, but always involved. I was always in the background. I enjoyed it. I watched it. I listened to it. But I never thought I'd become involved. I was 35 years of age, had 3 children. And I heard a local House of Delegate member, an older gentleman who'd been there for quite some time, came and spoke to my father. And he said, John, he says, you know all the favors I've done. I need you to do me a favor. I need you to help in some votes. And I'm thinking, my father's never asked for a favor. My father would ask you to help and do your job. And it went through me like a knife. A person who thought they were in public service, and they assumed if they did their job, that was a favor to you, and you owed them a favor back by committing to vote for him or support him. And after the person left, I said, Dad, I'm going to run against that guy. That's what got me involved. And I said, I'm going to run. And you know what I did? And I won. And here I am. I worked my way up to governor. 2004. I'm in a class, a freshman class. There were 6 of us, I believe. John was one of those. Now, in the governor's form, it works this way. When you become a governor, you get elected, you get inaugurated, and you get sworn in. And then immediately you go to a governor's association meeting, the National Governors Association. You don't go as a Democrat or Republican. You go as a governor. And we started working together. We started looking at the problems we had, that we faced, whether it be education, whether it be Medicaid, whether it be infrastructure. And then we start building this relationship. We would do this at least 2 or more times a year. Gail knows Mary Kay knows Gail. We know the family and the children, and we know each other. And if I had a problem, I'd call John and say, John, I saw you did something on Medicaid. How does it work out? And he'd give me the skinny of it. Or he'd call me something on mine safety, and we'd work through it. We had this rapport. So, fast forward. Robert C. Byrd passes away in 2010, the longest serving senator in the history of the United States of America. I had to make a decision. I was in my 2nd term. Now we have to have a special election. Do I run for Senate and take what I've learned and take all the successes we've had as a governor and take that and try to share and hopefully move our country forward? And I felt it was the right thing to do. Our state was in great financial shape. We did it and did it right. And I've said this, there's 2 things you don't waste in government. You don't waste a mandate and you don't waste a crisis. It's true. So when I got elected, I had a real good mandate and I had a financial crisis. We fixed our finances, put our house in order, put our priorities based around our values, taking care of our education, our children, and our senior citizens, and our veterans. We couldn't be everything to everybody. So I come to Senate, and I'm thinking I'm going to find that same type of atmosphere, and I'm excited. And I get here. And I find, oh my goodness, the contentious, the disconnect, the dysfunction. And I was really frustrated. And then I heard about a group that was going to meet in New York 2 years ago called No Labels. And I heard this was a group that basically were Democrats, Republicans, conservatives, liberals, independents, but they wanted to do something. They wanted to make this government work. They wanted this country to be everything that she's supposed to be and all the opportunity for everybody. So I got involved, and it got me excited and got me energized again. And that's really how I became a part of this and stayed a part of this. And I was so delighted when I was asked to be a co-chair with my dear friend Jon Huntsman, because together I know we can make things happen, working with all of the members that you've seen so far. Now let me give you a little bit of insight at what goes on. I've been in the United States Senate for 2 years. I have yet to have the first bipartisan caucus, to where I sit down in a room that's been organized by the leadership of the Senate with Democrats and Republicans in a bipartisan caucus that could talk about the concerns, the problems, finding out what our differences may be and what our commonalities are. Can you believe that? Now, on top of that, if you think that that's unbelievable, we didn't even know most of the members you've met today in Congress. If it was not for No Labels and the problem-solving groups that we put together, that would not be a possibility. I've been able to sit down and talk to Democrats and Republicans in Congress on what they think they can pass, how we can come together, how we can get our finances in order, how we can fix our energy, how we can do things. So what I would ask each and every one of you, when you go home, we need network. We need you to reach out and get people to be involved. Doesn't cost a thing. You're here and you've invested and you really made an investment. We're going to give you the best return because we're going to try to fix the problems that we have and make this place work again. But we can't do it without you. We need every one of you. Get them to get involved. Go out and recruit for us. And I can tell you, John and I will give you everything that we have. I am so proud to be a partner with this gentleman. I'm so proud of him and the service he's given to not only his great state of Utah, but this United States of America in so many different ways. He is my friend. I know he's your friend too. I want to introduce to you now and bring up my friend, Jon Huntsman.
Thank you. Thank you. So how's everybody doing? Yeah! You know, we're here for the next generation. You hear what I'm saying? We're here for the next generation. We're here because we believe in the simple proposition that our government ought to work, whether Republican or Democrat. People ought to be able to get in the same room and find results and solve problems. So when you conclude, my friends, that the 112th Congress was the least productive in the history of the United States of America, you think this is important what we're here to do today? Of course it's important. Of course it's important. So I just walked up here with a Democrat. I didn't quite know how to behave. Joe Manchin. I'm a Republican. Joe's a Democrat. We were elected governors together. We come from this culture of problem solving. This culture where the expectation is that you will actually do things for the people who elect you, that you'll move forward the ball on education, on the economy, on public lands, whatever your state feels is important. And to think today as we look into the future that we are getting nothing done. We're not preparing the way for this generation here. I say, I can join Joe Manchin in that cause. I can join you, all of you who have come from all over the country, who constitute our grassroots effort, which is just getting off the ground. I can join you in this cause. And you know what else? I can join these problem-solving members of Congress as well. Let's give them a hand. That's pretty awesome, these people that be here. So just to give you an example of this, you know, we had a mine disaster in our state, Crandall Canyon Mine, probably my second year in office. I didn't know what to do. I picked up the phone and I called a guy named Joe Manchin, Democratic governor of West Virginia. He'd been through a similar set of circumstances just a little bit before my own. And I turned to a Democrat, a Republican turning to a Democrat, if you can imagine that. Joe, I've got the international media that has descended on our state. We have a whole lot of families that are terribly concerned about people who are trapped in a mine. I didn't exactly get a how-to manual when I was elected governor on how to handle a mine disaster. What do you do, my friend? And Joe walked me through how to handle things, and I thought, you know, this is an example of how the system ought to work. Republicans and Democrats coming together, not just during times of need, but during times of enormous opportunity. And let me tell you about the time of enormous opportunity. Because I've lived overseas 4 times, most recently in China as the United States ambassador, and you look on this country from 10,000 miles away, and all you can see is our unmet potential. 320 million people who are good, decent, problem-solving, creative, optimistic folk, the best in the world. We got the best universities in the whole world. We got the most creative, dynamic, entrepreneurial, innovative people on earth. And when the dysfunction of Congress makes our own nation dysfunctional, and when it begins to contort and disfigure our very economy, as is the case, and when it makes the prospects for the next generation less compelling and less attractive in terms of what they can expect, then you know we've got a problem, folks. So is our work pretty important in terms of what we're setting out to do? Absolutely it is. So when you stop to conclude that there are a whole lot of businesses in this country who want to invest more, there are a whole lot of employers who want to bring on new people, jobs. There are a whole lot of folks who want to innovate and get on top of our solutions for the next generation, and they're not willing to do it because of the uncertainty in Congress. Folks, it shouldn't be this way. So here's what we do, in short. We need a network of grassroots organizers. This is just the beginning. We need a whole network of you in every single congressional district that takes the ethos of no labels, which is Republicans and Democrats who agree to work in the same room together, putting country before party, putting the next generation before the next election. The idea that you can actually problem solve together. Did you hear Joe Manchin? You hear Joe when he said, that venue doesn't even exist on Capitol? Can you imagine that? Can you imagine the American people putting up with that when they hear such a claim? There is no outlet. There's no venue for Republicans and Democrats to get together and solve problems. And then beyond the grassroots, our goal, ladies and gentlemen, will go to take the 25 problem solvers you saw here from Congress and expanding it by the end of the year to 75 or 80. You hear what I'm saying? Can you imagine? Can you imagine 75 or 80 members of Congress who actually get in a room, Republicans and Democrats alike? This isn't about ideology, ladies and gentlemen. This is about problem solving, doing the work of the people. You can imagine the impact that that's going to have on the future of this nation. The time is now. Let's light that fire under Washington, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all for being here.